Something, huh? That's excellent indeed. Holy okay. Rick and Marty Laganina are about to make the largest discovery yet on Oak Island after more than 10 years of excavation, and startling new information is leaking out. A wonderfully preserved man-made room deep underground has reportedly been discovered by the team working in the garden shaft. You won't believe the antique Roman relic that was purportedly discovered nearby, or what the scans reveal is within. Season 13 won't just be another season of looking, according to this leak. They will discover the impossibility throughout the season, 100 feet below the surface. Take this. It's possible that the whole story of Oak Island has simply been reversed. The Fellowship has been gathering, scrutinizing, but ultimately unconclusive clues for years. A few old coins, coconut fiber, and wet wood. However, the most recent leak, purportedly from a dissatisfied production insider, is a completely different matter. According to the source, the crew had to repeat the test 3 times because of the obvious and impossible sonar report they received during off-season preliminary scanning in the garden hole. It was neither a picture of a wooden barrier or a loose thing that returned. It was a man-made chamber, precisely rectangular. Unbelievably, it is claimed to measure out 10 feet broad by 15 feet long, and it is situated at an astounding depth of more than 140 feet. It would be equivalent to hiding a secret room beneath a 14-story structure. It is simply astounding how much engineering was needed to construct something like that centuries ago without the use of contemporary tools. We are discussing an operation that would have needed years of covert work, hundreds of individuals, and an unbelievably high level of planning. When you think about it, it's humorous. The alleged money pit has been the center of attention. 60 years later, Rick and I are really digging deep into the money pit. This immaculate building was only a stone's throw away from a chaotic collapsing wreck. But here's the worst part. The sonar did not simply display a blank space. The leak claims that the scans showed at least 3 big, thick, rectangular items resting on the chamber's floor. The extreme density values are in line with massive chests that could be packed with gold, silver, metal, or something else entirely. However, the most startling detail, the one that has the team in a full panic, is what lines the room. The entire interior was covered in a thin layer of metal, which the sonar detected. It appears that this enigmatic metal is the reason the chamber has held up so well over the years, untouched by the acidic water and crushing pressure that have ruined everything else. The existence of this peculiar alloy was allegedly confirmed by the team's discovery of trace elements in core samples taken from the nearby soil. It's more than just a treasure trove. A time capsule, that is. What really breaks the whole Oak Island time frame, though, is the metal lining. Some things seem out of place right now, but there must be more. The island's Roman ghost. This is when things get very insane. So wait a minute. Nobody was expecting the results of the preliminary study of those trace metal elements. According to reports, the concealed chamber's lining is made of an alloy of lead and silver. Although that may not seem like much, historians consider it to be a 5-alarm fire. The use of that particular alloy was a sign of highly developed Roman engineering. Important documents were sealed in protective casings, aqueducts were lined, and above all, the tombs and sarcophagi of emperors and high-ranking officials were lined to preserve them. It was a symbol of great riches and power, and it was very costly and challenging to make. This instantly puts some of the island's most puzzling discoveries in a new context. Do you recall the coin that some experts have dated to the Roman Empire, or the Roman pilum, a kind of javelin head discovered in the past? Many people at the time dismissed them as random objects that had been abandoned by a collector, or even as being a part of a much later treasure trove. However, everything is altered by a huge subterranean cavern walled with a Roman alloy. It implies that the discoveries weren't coincidental. They served as marks and proof of a well-thought-out, highly advanced operation on Oak Island, carried out by individuals who had first-hand experience with Roman technology more than a millennium before Columbus ever set sail. The ramifications are astounding. Before Columbus ever set sail. The ramifications are astounding. How on earth is this possible? According to mainstream history, neither Romans nor anybody else from that time period could have arrived in North America. However, the evidence is beginning to mount. There were more than a few stranded seamen washing up on beach. This was a large-scale building project. According to one account, a group of people, possibly the forerunners of the Knights Templar, possessed relics and knowledge from ancient Rome that carried the fallen empire's light. They may have constructed their ultimate hiding place using this lost technology. It wasn't a pirate's treasure that the Laganina brothers discovered by accident. They might have discovered evidence that the entire history of North America is incorrect. Shamoli. Okay. The location of the room leads directly to the Templars, yet this Roman connection redefecates the treasure. Nolan's secret message. This is the issue with the Templar Knights. They were experts in logistics, financing, and most importantly, deception. Layers of codes, symbols, and cunning deceptions shielded their secrets. What if the biggest scam of all was the money pit? The leaks indicate that the location of the original money pit is not the same as this recently found Roman chamber. It's positioned in a location that precisely matches an unidentified geometric point in the Nolan's cross pattern, although it's offset by a considerable amount. It is a crucial marker on the cross's outer perimeter rather than its center, and you would only search for it if you were aware of the entire pattern. On set, this has given rise to a radical new theory. This is not the last treasure vault. It is either a tomb or a ceremonial antechamber. If they were guarding something precious and irreplaceable rather than merely gold, which can be replaced, the elaborate flood tunnels and strange booby traps would make more sense. Consider it. There were rumors that the Templars had the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, the head of John the Baptist, or other fabled Christian treasures. You don't simply bury these things in the dirt. You would reverently enter a hallowed chamber constructed with your most advanced ancient knowledge. That's exactly what this Roman-style vault is. The items within could be reliquaries rather than gold chests. Although Oak Island is not a monetary treasure, it is a historical and spiritual treasure of unfathomable importance. This is directly related to the hints from Season 12 that point to the Templars' descendants, Knights of Malta. With this additional chamber serving as the final piece, the puzzle is beginning to fit together. The lock is the island itself. The secret is Nolan's cross. Additionally, before the actual vault can be opened, this chamber is the first of several tumblers that need to line up. It's possible that the money pit was a sacrificial pit intended to collapse and divert searchers for millennia, while the actual prize remained intact and undisturbed. Where's the true route to the money pit? If this is merely a ruse, drama, doubts, and the last jab, what does all of this signify for Season 13 then? It has all the meaning. Excavating and physically accessing this chamber will become the main focus. This was the result of the dye test, the honeycomb drilling technique, and the continuous scanning. This will be the team's most costly, intricate, and risky operation to date. They are aware of the place. They are aware of the depth. Additionally, they have a fairly accurate sense of what they will discover. The hunt will no longer be the drama. In the recuperation, that is. It's simple to be skeptical now. Many have lost hope after 12 seasons and numerous disappointments. The remarks are visible online. Either nothing will be found, or it's all for television. And it makes sense that you would be frustrated. But stand back and consider this. Everyone has been saying for years, show us something real, not just another piece of wood. This is it. If these leaks are real, an artificially constructed metal-lined room from an era that has no place in North America. The game-changer is this person. Does such a significant finding just happen overnight, or have the Laganina brothers been lying about their knowledge? The problem is that historical accounts are altered by such discoveries. These days, it's more than simply an ancient treasure. This relates to who and when the Americas were actually discovered. Given the enormous ramifications, it is understandable that every action is done with the utmost care. As viewers, we are following this development week by week, but it's a legacy for the squad. A 230-year-old riddle is about to be solved, and this chamber may hold the solution. However, the most important question of all is still unsolved. What is truly within those chests, which could be crucial to understanding what the island is attempting to convey to us? The 8th member of the Brotherhood. However, the show will never reveal this secret to you. There is more to the Fellowship than the few individuals you see on film. A vast invisible power has been working on the problem for more than 10 years. The supporters are the team's unofficial 8th member. Furthermore, their theories, which were previously written off as crazy speculation, are beginning to appear startlingly prescient in the online battle room. where forums like Reddit and specialized message boards analyze every frame of the show. There are 1,000 digital detectives for every shovelful of dirt moved on the island. They are conducting research, not merely observing. It may surprise you to learn that these armchair experts are employing resources that are comparable to those of the team. They're conducting in-depth analyses of old shipping logs and Templar financial records that would make a university professor blush, superimposing Xena Halpern's maps onto contemporary surveys with pixel-perfect accuracy, and using publicly accessible satellite imagery to identify geometric patterns invisible from the ground. Do you recall the French line idea that linked European landmarks to Nolan's Cross? Marty and Rick didn't discover that. The flames of late-night fan debate gave birth to it. These viewers are not merely casual ones. They are an international intelligence network that uses crowdsourcing to find the answer to the biggest treasure hunt in the world. But this is when things start to get really interesting. Who is listening is more of a secret than what the fans are discovering. According to a source close to the production, the research team for the show keeps a careful eye on these online forums. Take a moment to consider that. It's possible that the next big epiphany you have in the war room came from a forum post made by a retired engineer in Arizona rather than an old map. A strange feedback loop is produced as a result. Do the producers only want to know how interested the crowd is? Or are they intentionally searching through these fan theories to find fresh ideas for on-camera pursuits? The idea that the Fellowship is handling this on its own may be the biggest deception, rather than a flood tunnel. Actually, millions of research assistants work for them. Some of the most interesting and bizarre theories to date have come from this fan-driven craze. Fans have linked the island to everything, from a Viking warlord's hallowed burial site to Francis Bacon's lost Shakespearean manuscripts to Rosicrucian mysteries, despite the team's focus on Templars and pirates. According to some of the most radical beliefs, the money pit may not even be a pit, but rather the entrance to a subterranean earth tunnel or the location of an ancient alien ship's crash. It's easy to joke, but is there really anything off the table on an island where a pristine Roman-engineered chamber is purported to exist? This leads us back to the garden shaft bombshell. The fan community went into frenzy as soon as the leak appeared online. They were the first to note that several esoteric cults that descended from the Templars also used the lead-silver alloy of the chambers to preserve sacred manuscripts. They were the first to compare the depth of the chamber with the knight's ancient numerology. The fans are already figuring out how to access the chamber, even though the Fellowship has already located it. Could a forgotten forum post from 10 years ago contain the last clue to the island's greatest secret instead of an old text? What is that? Yes, that cross from medieval times. Give the cross to me. So, is the Oak Island mystery the most costly and intricate goose chase in the world, or is it a valuable Templar secret that will change the course of history? Comment below with your comments. Subscribe and like to receive future updates.